Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque, and welcome back to ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. This episode is going to be a very special episode for us because we are saying goodbye to Feather Clan. It might be abrupt for some of us because we have been doing so many Feather Clan episodes over the past 2 weeks, I think. We've managed to be with the clan at this point for 48 moons, and it'll be 49 moons in this episode, which I think is wild, but it just goes to show how much I love these cats and their stories, that I have been able to create so many videos in such a short span of time. But guys, now that I have a handle on classic mode, I want to go ahead and explore expanded mode and see what sort of fun stories we can discover there. So in order to do that, I will be needing to wrap up Feather Clan. So I just wanted to let everyone know that is what is happening over here. We are kind of seeing what our cats get up to in this final moon that we spend with them. And we'll be saying goodbye to our Feather Clan kitty cats and kind of leaving them to their own devices and stories going forward. Stories that we may no longer be privy to. But at least we have been able to create all these memories with all of these wonderful characters. And I don't know if I have a favorite at this point. I feel like I love all the cats equally because they're all unique in their own ways. But if you guys have a particular favorite that you either have had in the series or you have amongst the cats currently with us in the clan and you'd like to share, then please feel free to dive into the comments and let me know. I always love reading things like that. But okay, with that said, let us dive into the cat list, guys, and see what is going down here. So when we left off, we were saying that Bloomstar, has decided to change the focus of the clan to be more threatening to outsiders, to members of Drift Clan, because she is feeling quite vengeful of the fact that members of Drift Clan actually attacked Teammate Bluestripe and left him with this grisly scar, and she has never forgotten that. Now that she is leader, she has decided the focus of her warriors should be to threaten any sort of Drift Clan members they come across. So, after that change in direction, some members of the clan have been none too happy, particularly Bloomstar's daughter, Scale who had this massive argument with Bloomstar about her methods and the safety of the clan being put at risk. Now, following that, I was curious to see what kind of loyalties may have shifted. And guys, one cat's loyalty has shifted. So let's go ahead and see which cat has shifted loyalties and in which direction. So these are the cats that are currently loyal to Bloomstar. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in the last episode, this lineup included one more white cat. Smoke Thunder, who actually was loyal to Bloomstar and supportive of Bloomstar becoming the new leader, has now changed her mind. And I was racking my brain thinking, why would she change her mind? Especially after just one moon. And then, guys, I realized Smoke Thunder was so close to her mother Frostar when she was leader. She never really questioned anything her mother did. And that might have been because she always kind of agreed with her mother and her mother's methods. There was nothing for her to disagree over. They had the same kind of, I think, vision for what they wanted for the clan and the way they were going to go about doing that. And after seeing Bloomstar have a fight with her daughter Scaleron, Smoke Thunder, I think, started reconsidering her perception of Bloomstar as leader. I mean, if even Scaleron disagrees with her mother's methods, then I think that makes Smoke Thunder wonder, is Bloomstar really the right successor to Frostar? So I think that's what has happened, and that's why her loyalty has shifted. which is kind of dangerous because now it means that, the clan is kind of tipping towards not favoring Bloomstar as the new leader. But okay, let's dive into the cat list and see what everyone is doing around camp before we send them out on patrols. So Bloomstar is cloud watching. I think maybe Bloomstar is reflecting on everything that has happened over the past moon and maybe what she'll have to do going forward. Child Stripe is devising an effective teaching strategy for new skills, and she is still grieving, but it is good to see that, even through her grief, she is trying her best as deputy to kind of learn any sort of skills that she might not have gotten beforehand, because I'm sure Child Stripe is realizing, what a big responsibility being deputy is, especially because she's not being deputy to someone as experienced as Frostar when it comes to, a leader. They have just had a shift and they've just had a new leader. So Child Stripe will really have to step up once she gets out of grieving to support Bloomstar. So I'm kind of glad to see that she is trying to learn whatever new skills she can. Iris Quiver had a nice chat with a loner outside clan territory. So yeah, I can definitely see how Iris Quiver is one of the cats who is kind of dubious of Bloomstar and her methods, because he was chatting with a member of Drift Clan, and now I'm curious to see which member of Drift Clan he was chatting with. So we are going to say that the closest Drift Clan member that he has in his relationship panel is who he was talking to. So let's have a look. No Drift Clan members here. Whisper Eagle. Okay, so he was talking to Whisper Eagle. And Whisper Eagle was one of the kittens who was brought into the clan, was raised in the clan into an apprentice, studied in the clan as an apprentice, and then became a warrior within the clan before he, went away as part of the Great Exile. So he's one of the cats that Feather Clan members have a close connection to. So I can imagine how it would be difficult for a lot of Feather Clan cats to, view Whisper Eagle with any sort of malice and want to go ahead and actually threaten him. So they would be looking at Bloomstar thinking just because one of the Drift Clan cats, kind of did something out of turn, and who knows if they were punished by Juliet Star or not, but they did something out of turn, attacked Blue Stripe. You are now condemning kind of all the Drift Clan cats, some of the cats who were raised with us and had a close friendship with us. So Iris Quiver had a nice chat with Whisper Eagle, and I don't know, they must have been discussing how things, I feel like Iris Quiver would have warned Whisper Eagle that things are different in Feather Clan now. They're under Bloomstar, and she has very particular views about the way Feather Clan is expected to behave with Drift Clan members if they are found in their patrols. So Iris Quiver is probably telling Whisper Eagle to be careful and steer clear of any Feather Clan patrols. Cicada Lotus is eating some fresh kill. Okay, which I feel like Iris Quiver may have brought back for him after he was, chatting with Whisper Eagle at the borders. Blue Stripe is looking forward to finding more prey as the snow melts. I feel like this is also Blue Stripe trying to be really, really helpful to his mate Bloomstar by finding food for everyone and hopefully kind of getting them through. Actually, it is New Leaf, so I think in his own way he kind of wants to help. Food makes all the cats happy. Smoke Thunder wishes she was still in her nest sleeping. Okay. Maybe she is not feeling too optimistic about the patrols that we are going to be having pretty soon, especially after Bloomstar kind of changed her focus. Locust Leaf wonders if Snail Dusk misses her warrior days. Okay, so maybe Locust Leaf is actually comparing his warrior days now the way they are going to have to kind of approach patrols compared to the way Snail Dusk used to do patrols back when she was a warrior. So I think he's fascinated by that. But also, Snail Dusk has not been a warrior since we have started Feather Clan. That must have been, something she did in her old life when she was a lot younger, because she has always held like a big rank kind of in Feather Clan. She was deputy, then mediator, then medicine cat, then deputy again. So she hasn't been a warrior for a long, long time. Duckpelt pretends to be busy. I wonder what's going on over here. I mean, Duckpelt did have, I think, an argument with Chardstripe in the last episode about lying and being fake around Bloomstar and not actually being loyal to Bloomstar. So I wonder if Duckpelt is trying to, make herself busy so that she doesn't get pulled into any more uncomfortable situations and Childstripe doesn't find another opportunity to question her. Yeah. Sandy Speckle is soaking in the new leaf warmth. Scale Run saw a kitty pet with no fur at all, and Snail Dusk smiles as she reminisces about the past. I kind of love the idea that Snail Dusk and Locust Leaf are hanging out together, and he's asking her for stories about the past and how things were when she was younger, and she's telling him these stories, and she's also thinking about the early days of Feather Clan, and she's kind of smiling as she's remembering that, which is so sweet. But okay, we're now going to head out on patrol, guys. So let's go ahead and see. Oh wait, no, we need to send out the medicine cat first. So sorry, Iris Quiver, you are going out first. Let's see how your last patrol with us is going to be. As New Leaf brings green to Feather Clan's lands, Iris Quiver goes out in a search for Tansy. It can be reassuring, in a way, to be the only cat gathering the sometimes dangerous herb. The sharp scent of tansy calls Iris Quiver in to harvest its new leaf shoots. So he had a successful time harvesting his ingredients. And you know what, guys? I feel like Iris Quiver is definitely taking to the role of medicine cat. Even how we saw in the last episode, he was hiding his tears so that he could help the other cats who are grieving and being emotional. So I think he's taking to his role really well. And I think, once we leave, Iris Quiver is gonna have things in hand. I think he'll do a great job looking after all the members of Feather Clan. Now it is time for us to see what group of 6 our leader, Bloomfreckle, is going to be assigning on a patrol together. Because the deputy is, still down. And it's kind of unfortunate that we're not gonna see, we're not going to see Cicada Lotus and Childstripe on our last patrol together, but it's okay. At least we have these cats. So let's see what Bloomfreckle decides. Last time, she sent her mate. I think it was a bit of a declaration, Even as leader, it was a political move for sure, sending Bluestripe out on his own. So let's go ahead and see who she's going to send out alone this time around. Oh, Locust Leaf. Which, it makes sense. I feel like Locust Leaf was he was actually the only cat as an apprentice who was kind of sent on patrol by himself, and he actually hunted some fish. So I think this is something Locust Leaf is used to and he's very confident with. So it makes sense that out of all the cats, Bloomstar would send Locust Leaf on a patrol on his own. So this group here, we have Sandy Speckle, Smoke Thunder, Bluestripe, Scale Run, Bloomstar, and Duckpelt. Now the other thing to note, I feel like, with the whole loyalties, Smoke Thunder switched loyalties because his belief in Bloomstar was shaken because she witnessed Scale Run fighting with her mother. And to her, to Smoke Thunder, that was a huge problem. Whereas Scale Run has maintained her loyalty to her mother despite the fight and their disagreement. So yes, she has her own opinions, but that doesn't mean Scale Run would prefer to see anyone else on the seat of leader. She is still firmly supportive of her mother. So it's kind of interesting to see like the different dynamics we have even between relationships that are kind of the same, you know, the mother-daughter relationship. So I kind of like that. But okay guys, let us send these cats off on their final patrol. The patrol sees the shadow of a school of fish in the river. And it's funny that we are having this because I was just talking about Locust Leaf, you know, as an apprentice being sent on a patrol all by himself. And this was the exact prompt and pop-up we got for Locust Leaf when he was on his own and he actually managed to catch some fish. So our patrol skills, we have hunting, caretaking, fighting, mediating, and swimming. And our traits, vengeful, childish, insecure, cold, and lonesome. So let us proceed. Sandy Speckle is so successful that Smoke Thunder starts a rumor amongst the patrol that perhaps Sandy Speckle isn't entirely a cat. Perhaps it's some sort of combination of cat and fish, like a fish cat. Smoke Thunder whispers. Sorry, fish cat. Smoke Thunder whispers. Sandy Speckle frowns at her, twitching his whiskers in a manner suspiciously familiar to a catfish. So I think Smoke Thunder and Sandy Speckle recently have been like spending time together, because Smoke Thunder I feel like has kind of been a little bit ignored by the others and kind of bumped around camp, but Sandy Speckle is like including her and stuff, so that's kind of nice. So look at that! Sandy Speckle, who is usually like so playful and I don't associate with any sort of great accomplishment, actually went ahead and surprised everyone by getting a whole bunch of fish. So I kind of like the fact that for the first time as a warrior, he was able to shine. So that's kind of nice. And I think Smoke Thunder in the last episode was actually trying to eavesdrop on Childstripe and Locust Leaf, and Childstripe got kind of cheesed off. And I mean, Smoke Thunder wasn't trying to be rude. I think she was just trying to check up on Childstripe and see if there's anything she could help with. But then, you know, Childstripe was having a moment with her mate and she got really like defensive and sensitive. So Smoke Thunder ended up leaving, and then he kind of hung out with Iris Quiver a little bit, and then he wandered away from there. And luckily, I think Sandy Speckle was the one to like grab her and be like, hey, why don't you hang out with me? So it's kind of nice that they're bonding once more in patrol. And finally, guys, we have Locust Leaf. So let's go ahead and see what sort of adventures Locust Leaf gets up to on his final patrol with us. And actually, the final patrol for the series. Locust Leaf heads out along the coast alone, wanting to explore and have some time to himself. Locust Leaf pads confidently through FeatherClan territory. There's a particular peace in exploring his beloved home, his ears pricked up curiously whenever he spots how the seasons and weather have reshaped it since he last passed this way. I feel like that is such an ideal patrol to go on for like the end of a series. That's kind of nice. It almost feels like Locust Leaf is like going through his memories ever since being born into FeatherClan. You know, to Cicada Lotus and Snail Dusk and everything that's happened since then. Kind of like, I think we would be going through all the memories we have of FeatherClan and the things that we have gone through with the different cats. So that's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, so let us head into events. At this point, I mean, a birth notice would be so cute, but we're not going to be around to see any of, you know, the kids that come of it. But still, I think it would give us some hope for the future that these guys are getting up to without us here to see. However, let's see. Fern Clan. One last time, guys. Let's go ahead and try and praise Otter Clan. Okay, I'm going to cut the recording here, and then we'll be right back in a second. It is time for us to skip a moon for a final time with FeatherClan. So let's go ahead, guys, and see what everyone gets up to. We have notices. Given AutoClan's reputation of warm-hearted sociability, Bloomstar decides to praise the wisdom and rationality of AutoClan's mediators at the gathering. The appreciative gleam in AutoClan's leader's eye suggests this was the right course of action. So AutoClan relations have improved, and they're really happy with that, which is nice to see. Okay. Charred Stripe wakes one day after moons of numbness and feels as though the world is less dull. Oh, nice! So Charred Stripe has actually managed to get out of her grief, and she is going to finally take up the mantle of deputy and help Bloomstar. I keep wanting to say Bloomfreckle, but no, help Bloomfreckle. Okay, never mind. Never mind, guys. Help Bloomstar figure out what's happening with the clan. And oh my goodness! Blue Stripe was having a peaceful stroll outside of camp when he was attacked and killed by a fox. What? Oh my goodness. Guys, what is gonna happen to Bloomstar? She already changed the whole clan's focus just based on one of the Drift Clan members giving Blue Stripe a scar. And within 2 moons of her becoming the leader, her mate, who she is fiercely protective of, gets killed by a fox. I am in disbelief. Blue Stripe is begging Star Clan to send him back. No, Blue Stripe, no. He's send me back. I want to go back. Let me go back. I'm too young. Bloomstar only just became a leader. She needs me. Let me go back. This is like a knife to the heart. Oh no, this is a knife to the heart. I mean, a few episodes ago we were wanting drama, but now I would have preferred to leave in peace. Not with this bombshell. Oh goodness. That's just a knife to the heart. Especially because he's begging StarClan to let him go back. No, guys. Oh, this is terrible. I'm almost nervous to scroll down. Iris Quiver looks at all the cats sitting vigil for Blue Stripe and wonders how any of them will cope without Blue Stripe in their lives. Cats offer him comfort and care. He refuses all of it. Oh, I just got chills. Because, I'm actually wondering the same thing. How will any of them cope without Blue Stripe? This is such an odd thing in my mind. Because I feel like Blue Stripe, he was the first clan-born cat we had. He was the first little baby born in Feather Clan. And he was so young, only 40 moons. And I feel like ever since Blue Stripe has been born, he has not really been, the loudest cat, the center of attention. Has kind of always been this insecure bundle of fur that has kind of been maybe in the background, sometimes in the sidelines, in the shadows, doing things quietly in his own way, having his own, sweet relationships, but not really going ahead and making a whole lot of noise. And yet, I feel like somehow he has managed to weave himself into so many important relationships, and he's almost like the breeze in the clan and the camp. And how do you live without the breeze that you've become so used to? The breeze that gives you relief on a hot summer day, especially by the seaside. How do you live with that? I don't know how anyone's gonna live with that. And Iris Quiver, guys, he was so strong. He was holding on so strongly. When Froster died, he was literally hiding his tears so that he could help the other cats get through the leader's death. But when Blue Stripe died, he just couldn't. He just couldn't do it. He didn't want to face any of it. And it makes sense. It's his son. It's his son. This is the little itty bitty baby that was born between Iris Quiver and Snail Dusk, and I don't think Iris Quiver ever considered that his son would die before him. Oh my goodness. The past moon, Blue Stripe has taken their place in StarClan. FeatherClan mourns their loss, and their clanmates will miss the spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life as shared in stories around the circle of mourners, as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. That was literally like the worst thing that could have happened in the events. I don't even have words for that. Okay, let us go ahead and see what was happening in the relationships. We might get an inkling into Blue Stripe's final moments before it happened, and what he was doing, who he was interacting with. Let's have a look, guys. My stomach is literally in knots. Let's take a look. Cicada Lotus is really surprised that Smoke Thunder's life isn't as easy as he thought it was. Okay, I mean, now that Cicada Lotus, actually, who's out of one? Oh no, Cicada Lotus is still grieving, and Iris Quiver is still grieving. And oh my goodness, Bloomstar is now, she's a senior, guys. Bloomstar, I mean, she's reached 120 moons, she's a senior now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And holy cow, guys, look at the amount of cats we have. FeatherClan is so tiny now. We only have 10 cats. We only have 10 cats in the whole clan. Guys, do you think FeatherClan's gonna die off when we leave? Do you think they'll actually be able to, grow and recover and thrive? Or do you think they're just gonna die off like this? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm worried. I'm very worried. But yeah, Cicada Lotus is in mourning, still grieving Froststar, and now Iris Quiver has joined his mate in mourning for his son. Okay, so anyways, I was gonna say Cicada Lotus, he probably thought that Smoke Thunder had everything figured out, and also, since Smoke Thunder grew up with parents in power, that maybe she had a bit of a privileged life, and she's always been taking things easy, and maybe he kind of assumed that Smoke Thunder has like a very shallow view of clan life and, being a warrior. But I suppose he's kind of learnt recently that, well, that's not the case at all. Okay, Cicada Lotus woke a bunch of cats up for stretches, even though he's in grieving. So I think this was maybe his effort to try and do something. Try and get out of his grief, if only for the other cat's sake. So, okay. Oh my goodness. Ouch, ouch, ouch. My heart. Bloomstar is prancing around in front of Blue Stripe. This just guts me, guys. Like, how happy Bloomstar was around a Blue Stripe. She was absolutely in love with her mate. I don't think we have had another pair that have been as in love as Bloomstar and Blue Stripe. And the really sweet thing about their relationship was that Bloomstar I have always viewed as a bit of she seemed like a very, strict, firm sort of cat who's, I suppose, maybe not so much strict, but I think I always viewed her as a stern sort of cat who doesn't get too closely involved with others, but is quite loyal and, is fiercely protective, but it's almost like she's very prim and she's very proper and she's very stern and she will do what she needs to do, but, don't go out of your way to try and impress her because honestly, she won't be impressed. And yet, I feel like Blue Stripe, and she's also the type that doesn't like being doted on. So, don't try and be the hero in her story because she's not going to take that. Whereas Blue Stripe was, I feel like, the only cat that has ever made Bloomstar kind of put down those walls and has made her emotional and has made her caring and has made her sometimes nonsensical, right? In like the worry and concern she has for Blue Stripe. And all of I feel like the young, kind of youthful feelings and things that she got used to not displaying suddenly was able to come out in front of Blue Stripe. And then, with her insecurities and vulnerabilities, I always viewed Bloomstar as the type of cat who doesn't talk about those things. She doesn't let other people know what bothers her or where the gaps in her armor might be. And yet she took off her armor and she allowed Blue Stripe to kind of see her wounds or where she was hurting and what she was concerned about and worried about and what she was thinking of. She kind of let him in. She only let that side be visible to her mate Blue Stripe. And now he's gone. Okay, Bloomstar struggles to accept Locust Leaf's different opinion on something. I think this definitely is, again, one of the arguments that are happening about the way Bloomstar is choosing to run the clan. And, we saw Iris Quiver in the last moon go and warn Whisper Eagle from Drift Clan that things were different now under a new leadership and he had to be careful. And Locust Leaf was one of the cats who kind of grew up around... Wait, did he? Actually, no, he didn't. He didn't grow up. But, I'm sure he's heard stories. Yeah, because if I remember, actually... Hold on a second. I think it was actually, guys... Actually, this is another sad thing about Blue Stripe. Blue Stripe grew up with Whisper Eagle. They were the exact same age. They were born on the same moon. And they grew up together. They became apprentices together. They became warriors together. They were kittens together. And Blue Stripe was actually, he was bullied by Whisper Eagle when they were kittens. And then later on, Blue Stripe ended up becoming really, really close friends with Whisper Eagle. And, they were almost, best friends with each other. And everyone kind of looked up to Whisper Eagle. So I think Locust Leaf has maybe heard some of these stories, and even though he himself might not have known these cats, because the Great Exile happened before Smoke Thunder was born. And so even though he didn't meet these cats, he probably heard all these stories from Blue Stripe about these great members who were once with them, and the friendships they had, the stories they had, the fights they had. And Locust Leaf, probably thinking from Blue Stripe's perspective, probably doesn't understand how Bloomstar can condemn those cats, cats like Whisper Eagle, who probably didn't do anything wrong, just because of one incident that's happened. And I think that's maybe the fight that's been ongoing here. Why is Bloomstar doing this? Or he can't understand. And Bloomstar, likewise, is struggling to accept how Locust Leaf can be okay with, as far as she's concerned, a clan, not even a single cat, but a whole clan that has caused Blue Stripe grief and has given him this gruesome scar because of how fiercely protective she is of Blue Stripe. So, it's kind of wild. I don't know. Snail Dusk tells Locust Leaf to quiet down, but Locust Leaf doesn't listen. Okay, and I kind of like the idea that while Bloomstar and Locust Leaf are having this argument, Locust Leaf's mother, Snail Dusk, kind of hears them, and then she comes running out, telling Locust Leaf to stand down and not keep going in a, this continuous train of an argument in confronting the clan leader, because I think Snail Dusk is realizing that Bloomstar is not like Frostar. She is hard-handed. She might not just sit down and take the youngsters challenging her the way Frostar kind of allowed the youngsters to challenge her. So Snail Dusk probably, getting worried for his son, is telling him to like stand down. She's a clan leader. Stop challenging the clan leader like that. But Locust Leaf doesn't care. He's bold. If he has an opinion, he's gonna share it, right? Nobody's gonna tell him to brush it under the rug. So yeah, he's not happy with that, and I guess she's not happy with that. I think Snail Dusk is just being protective. She doesn't want her son to risk his place in the clan because of a disagreement or a difference in opinion. Cicada Lotus has to help Snail Dusk stop choking on a huge bone. Okay, so these two, I think Snail Dusk probably got distracted eating afterwards and she almost choked, and then Cicada Lotus came by to help her, and then they probably both talked about their son, Locust Leaf. And I think Snail Dusk, Cicada Lotus probably asked her, what are you thinking about that you choked on a huge bone? You didn't notice that you were ingesting a huge bone. And Snail Dusk would then have told him, Locust Leaf, he's putting himself in a very difficult position right now because of the way that he is challenging Bloomstar, and Snail Dusk is just concerned about what's going to happen going forward. So I think they're talking about that. Snail Dusk tells Bloomstar romantic stories of old. Okay, and then of course Snail Dusk is good. I think she went over to Bloomstar to apologize for the way her son was talking. And while they were, discussing that, then I think Snail Dusk started talking about, the old romantic stories in Feather Clan. Started talking about, Snail Dusk and Cicada Lotus and a whole bunch of other things that happened in all the couples that the clan has kind of seen. Iris Quiver shares nest material with Bloomstar. Okay, so Iris Quiver, he as the medicine cat probably had some, extra materials and such. So he came over to kind of smooth things over. Probably also because Cicada Lotus, after talking with Snail Dusk, took his concerns to his mate. And so Iris Quiver thought to himself, why don't I try and make Bloomstar a little bit happier? And I can apologize for Locust Leaf's behavior as well, because, Locust Leaf is Iris Quiver's stepson, so I think he's willing to do that much. Iris Quiver sees Sandy Speckle be kind to one of Iris Quiver's friends. Okay, so Iris Quiver, who are you friends with? Actually, yeah, we'll go with that. Who are you friends with? So not a family member. So not Cicada Lotus. Snail Dusk? I guess he's friends with Snail Dusk. So Sandy Speckle was being nice to Snail Dusk, and Iris Quiver appreciated that. That's nice. And Sandy Dusk is quite he's charming, so I can see him going to visit the Elder and chatting with her. Childstripe could recognize Cicada Lotus just by the sound of his paw steps, which makes sense because they were mentor and apprentice, and they spent a lot of time together, so they do have a very strong bond in that regard. Even if life might seem as though it has taken them in different directions. Scale Run says something vulnerable to Childstripe. Okay, that's kind of sweet. Blue Stripe takes Cicada Lotus out to look at the stars, explaining the constellations to him. Okay, these two had a bit of a bonding moment, which is kind of cute. And that's actually so adorable that Blue Stripe was, out looking at the stars. And I think, you know what? In the last moon, Bloomstar was looking at the clouds. I wonder if Blue Stripe noticed his mate looking at the clouds, so he went out at night to look at the stars, and maybe Cicada Lotus, came out of the medicine cat den because he's still grieving. He came out to see what Blue Stripe was doing, and Blue Stripe was wondering, what was Bloomstar thinking when she was looking at the clouds? Locust Leaf won't stop complaining to Smoke Thunder. Okay, I think Locust Leaf probably following the argument he's had with Bloomstar, his mother telling him to stop arguing. I think is just complaining about Bloomstar and his mother to Smoke Thunder. And yes, Smoke Thunder has a problem with Bloomstar, but I think Smoke Thunder doesn't like hearing Locust Leaf complain about his mother, because Smoke Thunder had a very close relationship with her mother, and that's something she views with a lot of reverence, that kind of bond. So yeah, she's not happy, and she doesn't want to hear it. Locust Leaf and Skillrun realize they have a similar sense of humor. Okay, so these two are bonding. I wonder if Locust Leaf finally found someone to complain about his mother to, because Skillrun also had a fight with Bloomstar, so they might actually get along with each other. Locust Leaf helps Duckpelt hide from a clanmate. Okay, so finally brother and sister here are interacting with each other. I feel like these two have really been kind of hanging out with each other and interacting, so it's kind of nice to see this. But which clanmate was Duckpelt hiding from? We're gonna check to see who she has the lowest relationship with in the clan. So let's take a look. Childstripe. So Locust Leaf is helping his sister hide from his mate. I wonder what's going on there. I could see Locust Leaf doing that potentially if he thought Duckpelt would end up having a fight with Childstripe, and he doesn't want Childstripe to get involved in something, that out of control. He's like protecting, I think, Childstripe more than anything. Okay, Sandy Speckle claims that Childstripe is one of his best friends. Meanwhile, Sandy Speckle is being so adorable. Oh, Sandy, you're so cute. Okay, Sandy Speckle is then getting everyone up for morning stretches, and they don't like that. A clanmate tells Skillrun that Iris Quiver stories are better. Who would do that? Okay, let's see who she has the lowest relationship with in the clan. Childstripe. I feel like a lot of these, I feel like the younger females just don't get along well with Childstripe. Because Childstripe told Skillrun that Iris Quiver has better stories. Yikes. And then, guys, Bluestripe died. Bluestripe died at the end of all of this. When was the last Bluestripe interaction? Knife to the heart again. The last Bluestripe interaction, guys, was Bluestripe looking at the stars and wondering what his mate was thinking during the day, or during last moon. Yeah, what his mate was thinking in the last moon when she was looking at the clouds. So his last kind of, significant interaction or thought was of his mate, Bloomstar. Okay, guys. That is just not the ending I was expecting, but the ending we got. And that seems to be all we have for events. But okay, guys. A final roundup of all of our cats. We have our leader, Bloomstar. We have our deputy, who is now out of grieving, Childstripe. We have our medicine cat, Iris Quiver, who just entered grieving. We have our mediator, Cicada Lotus, who is still grieving the loss of Froststar. We have Smoke Thunder, Locust Leaf, Duckpelt, Sandy Speckle, Skillrun, and Snail Dusk. Again, guys, let me know what cat was your favorite in the series, or what cat among these ones are your favorite. Like I said before, I don't think I have one, because all these cats are so unique in their own ways. They all have their own kind of, interesting stories. If I absolutely had to pick a cat, I think I would have to say that my favorite cat throughout the whole series is definitely Bluestripe, who just passed away. And I mean, if you guys need a reminder, you know, we have these cats, and then we have the deceased cats that were also with us throughout the series. But yeah, Blue Stripe, he, I think, if I had to pick, would be my favorite cat. He is just such a pretty looking plushie. He was the first little kitten born in Feather Clan, and you know, the first kitten I had in ClanGen as a whole. So I think he's always gonna have a soft spot in my heart. And this is the cat that I'm always probably gonna be attached to. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and definitely keep your eyes peeled for a brand new clan and a brand new series in expanded mode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.